This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave, here's Jason Walker.
Well, happy Monday. It is the Jason Walker Show here on the final Monday of December, the final Monday of 2019. Believe that. As we welcome you inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Pretty big show coming up today. We're going to recap the weekend here in a minute. Frontier Players of the Week have been announced in the world of basketball. What was your performance of the week? You can always tweet us, Facebook us with your best performances of the week. Facebook.com/The Jason Walker Show. You can watch it. Search it on the YouTube. Jason Walker Show there as well. And it's just a great place for you to go and watch. Don't forget you can listen. TreasureStateRadio.com. You can download it if you don't have it yet on the Google Play Store or the Apple iTunes App Store, all that stuff. And as we try to get connected to Treasure State Radio right now, it is we're having a little bit of an issue, so bear with us on that aspect. You can also JasonWalkerSports@gmail.com. Podbean. It is also on iTunes. We are also live on, as I mentioned, Podbean. It's all over the place. Just search Jason Walker Show, and you're going to find it literally probably anywhere. And we're also going to talk today, by the way, to Guy Almquist, the head coach of the Capital Boys. He'll join us coming up here in about 8-9 minutes or so. And let's see, what else is going on? Oh, we're going to revisit one of my favorite interviews of 2019. Brenna Greene. She used to be up in Great Falls, now the sports director at KREM 2 Sports out in Spokane. We're going to chat with her from a conversation we had back in June. A great, great young lady in the world of sports. And we had a lot of fun talking with Brenna. So she's going to join us coming up. And also on this day in history and a whole lot more. So the weekend, Big Sky Conference weekend, started up over Big Sky Conference schedule started up over the weekend. And we're now back, by the way, on TreasureStateRadio.com. So back connected there. But Big Sky Conference opened up, both the Cats and Grizz, men and women, getting wins. The women are on the road. The guys are at home. They will play tonight. But on Saturday, it was Montana State getting the big win over Sacramento State to open up the Danny Sprinkle era as the Cats won 66-51. Harold Frey, Jabril Bello, each with 18 in that one to lead the way. And so the Cats are 1-0 and 7-5 overall. But Harold Frey continuing his outstanding career that he has had so far in a Bobcat uniform. He also had 7 assists and 5 rebounds. Bello was 7 of 11 from the floor. And the Cats forced more turnovers. They out-rebounded the Hornets and got the win 66-51. Up in Missoula, the Grizz are victorious over Northern Arizona on Saturday as they won 79-72. Grizz actually trailed by 6 at the half, and then outscored the Lumberjacks 51-38 in the second half to get the 7-point victory. Saeed Pridgett, 27 points. He's pretty good. Kendall Manuel had 16. Jared Samuelson had 9. He transferred from Rocky. And let's see, that was a pretty good win. And for the 10th straight year for the Grizz, they open up Big Sky Conference play with a victory. That's the guys. And again, Saeed Pridgett, the senior, man, he's so good. The Grizz went on a 15-2 run in the second half to get that win. And they will host Sacramento State tonight. The Bobcats will host Northern Arizona. So they just flip opponents a little bit. Now, the girls, the ladies of Montana and Montana State, also picking up wins. We'll start with the Lady Grizz as they improved to 6-4 overall, but a very nice road win at Northern Arizona, 79-71 for the Lady Grizz and Shannon Chwayan. Mackenzie Johnston, the former Capital star, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, 8 of 11 from the field, had 26 points and 7 rebounds, also dished it out 3 times. Abby Anderson with 15, Gabby Harrington with 11 in the victory. The Grizz women, the Lady Grizz, now at Sacramento State tonight. And then the Bobcat women, they got a big win at Sacramento State on Monday, as they'll play at Northern Arizona tonight, but a very big win as Martha Cooterer hit a career high for her, is 85-48 was the victory. And the Bobcat women now 5-5 overall, but Cooterer goes for 23, had 15 in the first half, as the Cat women got the 85-48 win. Who else? Madeline Smith in double figures with 13, Darian White with 12, and Tricia Binford's squad starts out 1-0 in the Big Sky Conference. The Cats put up 32 points. Okay, so they led 29-19 at the half. This is just interesting. They put up 32 in just the third quarter and cruised to that victory. 24 points in the fourth, so they had a 56-point second half. The Montana State women did, and they are at Northern Arizona tonight. But big games for everybody, for the Cats and the Lady Grizz, as they all and the Grizz men, as they all start off 1-0 in Big Sky Conference play. There was Frontier basketball over the weekend. You had Northern hosting the Duck Inn Classic. Both the men and women getting big wins up there. Is the Northern women, I think, 13-1 now, as they didn't really play anybody in that tournament. The Rocky men and women were also at home, and Providence men and women were down in Rocky as well. It was the Green and Gold Classic or something like that. But the Frontier Conference came out with its and the Carroll and Tech men played at the Carroll Classic, each getting 2 big wins over not very good opponents. But at the end of the day, a couple of wins. Markayla Francis of Rocky is the women's Frontier Basketball Player of the Week after she had a very nice week, surpassing 1,000 career points in her career. The senior from Great Falls High, 6-footer, as Rocky was 2-0 in beating Bethesda and Mount Royal out of Canada. She had averaged 20.5 points, 8.5 rebounds per game, and like I said, joined the 1,000-point club, as she had a very nice weekend. Now, Jovan Slavanchinen of Carroll College named the men's Basketball Player of the Week. I think this is the third time he's won the award this year, and he had a very nice weekend as well, leading Carroll to a couple of big wins in the Carroll Classic, and the sophomore having a very nice career through a season and a half at Carroll College. So there you go. There is your Frontier and Big Sky recaps. So what's your performance of the week? Adam Hughes up at Northern also crossing the 1,000-point barrier. I thought he would have gotten there much earlier, especially the way he can score and the way he can shoot. But congratulations to him as well. 1,000-point mark is a big mark in college basketball, and both Markayla Francis and Adam Hughes crossing that barrier over the weekend. So congratulations to them. Big games for everybody. All right, still to come, we're going to check in with Brenna Greene. We have On This Day in History coming up. The walk-off is just around the corner and at the end of the show. But when we return next, we're going to check in with the head boys basketball coach of Capital High School. His name is Guy Almquist, and the Bruins had some time off as the holiday break, but they're getting geared up for another fantastic conference season in Western Conference play. The AA basketball season is underway, as is basketball across all levels. But getting underway, and big games this weekend for both Helena High and Capital boys and girls. We'll talk to Guy Almquist when we return here on the Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Yes, happy Monday. Welcome back. Jason Walker Show inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave is always presented by Helena Accommodations. The in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. All right, still to come, Brenna Greene will check in with the first female sports director in Spokane history at KREM 2 News. And also on this day in history, we're going to check in with some birthdays as well. But joining us now here on the Jason Walker Show is the head coach of the Capital boys basketball team in, 14th year now, Coach?
14th year as head coach, 22nd overall.
Wow. But you don't look a day over like 35, so you can't be that old. You started coaching a long time when you were young.
When I was young, I looked old, so I've been old for a long time. It's not bothered me at all.
Guy Almquist, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show. Coach, how was your Christmas break?
It was great. Got a little time away from the gym and spent some time with some family, enjoyed my 4 kids, and now I'm ready to get back at it.
With the holidays, is it a better break for the coaching staff or is it a better break for the guys?
It's probably debatable, but I can tell you that it is good for the coaches for sure. That first month is so hard in terms of lots of administrative stuff to do. You're trying to get ready to play games. There's not a lot of film out there. You don't know what to expect. It's pretty hectic. And so from November, mid-November through to the break, that's a tough roll. So I enjoy basketball that season actually much more after January hits.
There you go. Some big games coming up, and we'll talk about those in a second. Guy Almquist joining us here, Jason Walker Show. Coach, do you worry about the guys during the break? Because I know they're supposed to be on a routine, they're supposed to eat better, stay eating healthy and all that, but they've got to splurge a little bit. But how much do you focus on how much they've eaten and how much they've taken care of themselves and how much you have to get them, quote unquote, back into shape in a couple of days?
Yeah, you do worry a little bit. You work so hard at trying to get into game shape and working on and getting into the fill of the season that taking 6 days off, which is what we gave them, which is probably about the longest break I can remember. It is a little nerve-wracking, but I think if you got good character kids, that we talk about nutrition, sleeping, all these things, get in the gym while you're over break, just get a few shots up. I think you'd be fine. We practiced on Saturday for the first time, just really to get a workout in, kind of review some things, get them back in maybe the frame of mind of basketball, then gave them, the rest of the weekend off, and we start up again today. We've got 5 good practices for Saturday. So I think we'll be in good shape, and those that, put in a little extra effort on their own and are doing the right things in terms of nutrition and sleep will probably benefit just like they do all year.
Jason Walker Show here with Guy Almquist, the head coach of the Capital boys basketball team. All right, so let's break down, because you and I didn't really get a chance to chat, but that weekend trip to Billings, I think you go 1-1, but a nice chance for the guys to bond. It's a chance to be in hotels and a chance to play 2 very good basketball teams down there in the Magic City.
Yeah, it was great. It's been a long time since we went to Billings. I wasn't on the coaching staff last time the Helmet Schools went to Billings, and personally, I hadn't been in either one of those gyms since 1992,
Wow.
my senior year in high school. So it was pretty crazy to go back there and play two good teams. Got out to a bit of a rough start right as we head out that first morning. Got the phone call that Parker Johnston was sick and not going to make the bus. Oh. That's not exactly how I wanted to start the trip. So we got off to a bit of a slow start, and West jumped on us early. We're still trying to adjust to playing without Parker, who's a big part of what we do, as you know. Mm-hmm. And after that 22-9 deficit, we really fought back. We got to within 4 with 1:30 left and had the ball. We had the chances. The score ended up 11, but that's because we fouled them late and they shot some free throws. But we did a good job getting back in the game against a good Billings West team. And then on Saturday, we went up against Billings Senior, who was 2-1 going into that game and had scored 78 on Sentinel. Mm. They can really score the ball. They got 2 kids, Junior Bergen, who's really a tough matchup in terms of guarding a man-to-man, and then a kid named Jackson Berkeley had 26 on us, hit 6 threes. I think he's shooting 70% from three-point line through 4 games. So they really caused some problems for us. We didn't shoot the ball very well, but we found a way to win, and so that was a great way to finish right before we hit the break.
Definitely, and like you said, you give him a couple of days off. As a Guy Almquist joining us here, Jason Walker Show. A couple of final questions before you head off to practice today. But when you look at the season thus far, you've played 3 non-conference games. You got another one coming up. Are you where you thought you'd be at this point?
I think so. I think maybe just a little bit ahead of where I thought we'd be. I mean, we obviously have some experienced guys back. We have 4 guys who've been through the rigors of a AA basketball season. But the other 4 guys that will primarily be playing haven't played any varsity. And so while we do have some experience, we've got some new guys. And I think that, some of our returners, they're better this year. They're doing some of the things that we've asked them to do and gotten better at. And then I think a few of our guys, and Braden Cook would be one of them, has come in and just stepped right in the middle of it, and through 3 games has been our leading scorer, our leading assist guy. And so that him being able to play with the others and that their chemistry is already pretty good, being this only 3 games into the season, I think is a great sign for us.
You get a couple of home games to start off the 2020 season, and CMR coming to town first. And this is traditionally a very good basketball team with John Sisler. You know him very, very well. He's got some athletes, and this is going to be another great game.
Yeah, John and I are great friends. I have become great friends through coaching, and there's probably not another coach I respect more than him. He just year in, year out, he takes the kids he has and gets the best and the most out of them. And I think that's a good way to view any coach. And while he's had plenty of great teams, he's had some teams with not as much talent that he's gotten to go very far. And this is a young team for him. But I know they're going to be tough. They're going to come in. They do some different things offensively and defensively than some of the other teams in the state. So there's a little bit more in terms of preparation to go against them. And we just want to have a good effort. Our second home game, we played well. Home our first game, we hope to have that energy and passion and that zest for playing basketball. I thought we really enjoyed each other so far on the season. And Saturday at 3:30, we need to have a good performance as we head into the conference season.
Yeah, and with that conference season, it starts next week with Butte, a team that's now in the conference, the Western AA, that you used to seeing about once a year, but now you're going to see them twice a year. You lose a couple of non-conference games, and Butte's playing really good basketball right now.
Yeah, they're improved. Coach Lucky's done a good job with them. They're using their talent well. That's one thing I would say. I've watched all their games a couple times, and they've played differently against each team, which is interesting in terms of they're really trying to take advantage of their matchups in each game, it looks like to me. And last time they played Butte Central, who I know to be a great basketball team, that went right to the wire. They scored a lot of points on a Brody Kelly coach team, which is difficult. They did a very good job getting the ball into their big guys, 6'8" Olsen kid. And then they've got a lot of athletes and shooters around them. So they're going to be a tough matchup. And we know that the first conference game is key, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll chat before that next week. But first, I guess, how's Parker's health now?
He's doing fine. He had the cold. that everybody else in town seemed to get there. It just happened to be bad timing for us. So like I said, he came up Saturday with his parents and was able to play in that senior game, which helped us immensely. And other than that, we got Malachi Sivrud. We're still waiting to get him back from a broken wrist. He hasn't been cleared yet, but we're hoping to get his firepower off the bench coming back shortly.
Well, and you got a couple of guys on that basketball team that are pretty good football players too that were just chosen for the East-West Shrine game. That's a very nice honor for Bridger and Parker.
It's great. They're hard kids. I know how hard they're good kids, excuse me, and I know how hard they've worked.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they've been in our program for 4 years and been on the varsity for that same length of time, and it's just nice to see kids who are doing the right things and getting it done in the classroom and working hard and are being good leaders in their high school get that reward, and I was happy for them both.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it, and have a great game on Saturday as you get back into it, and Happy New Year. We'll talk to you in 2020.
All right, sounds good. Happy New Year to you as well.
There is a head coach of the Capital Boys, Guy Almquist, as they head off to practice, joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. Appreciate Coach taking time out to join us. He is a fantastic basketball coach, and he's a pretty good golfer too, and a really, really good guy, and love chatting with him. So yeah, the Capital Boys at home hosting CMR Saturday at 3:30 over at the Bears Den. The girls of Capital will be on the road. They'll be at CMR 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Helena High boys and girls in action as well as we get back into the swing of things coming off of the holiday break. Now, they're going to play some basketball and there's no school, which is it's kind of nice actually if you're a student athlete, because you don't have to really worry about anybody else, and you don't have to worry about classes. Anyway, so Helena High boys will be hosting Belgrade at 3:30 on Saturday. That means the Helena High girls are on the road in the Gallatin Valley. Then you got swim is off for another week, and the wrestling squads get back into swing of things. You know, you come off of Christmas break, holiday break. Don't want to offend anybody in these days, but anyway, and so as a wrestler, you know, you got to watch your weight. You got to watch what you're eating. And then you get back from that holiday break, and then you get to go to Bozeman for 2 days for the La Prowse Invitational, which is one of the best wrestling tournaments in all of the state, outside of the state wrestling tournament down in the Magic City. But it is a fantastic event down there in Bozeman. So the La Prowse is going on Friday and Saturday this week. So wrestlers, if you ate too much over the holidays, you're going to have to get back into the underweight coming up here this weekend. Jason Walker Show is presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Now, you know, we've talked a lot about Helena Accommodations in the past, and rightfully so. We'd love having them on as our presenting sponsor, but what they've done with 6 historical buildings in Helena and turned them into 22 extended stay suites is unbelievable. The care, for one, that went into all of the extended stay suites. But you talk about technology. Now, when these buildings were first erected and people first stayed in these buildings, they didn't have what you have now in an extended stay suite. You have washers and dryers. You have cable, 4G, Wi-Fi, flat screen TVs, all the bells and whistles that you need for technology for an extended stay suite. Because if you're going to be here for 4 days or 4 months, you want to feel like you're at home. And Helena Accommodations, with a huge, long string of 5-star ratings from their customers, this is the place to be in Helena if you're coming to town, is HelenaAccommodations.com. Make sure you book there for your friends that are coming, your family that's coming. If you need a staycation or business associates, HelenaAccommodations.com. Check them out. You're going to love everything about the extended stay experience at Helena Accommodations. All right, still to come, Brenna Greene will join us here in a little bit as we revisit one of my favorite interviews of 2019. Also on this day in history is coming up. Not sure if you had a chance over the weekend to watch any of the bowls. You probably did. And it was a pretty decent weekend for football. LSU, Clemson will meet in the national championship. Clemson with the big comeback. I think they were down 16-0 to Ohio State and came back to get the win. And then LSU just all over Oklahoma. Not much defense in the Big 12, and Oklahoma proved it, but LSU, a very good team. So you got LSU and Clemson will meet up with January 13th in New Orleans. So a little bit of a home game for LSU. Now, in the past, since LSU in the last 4 times they played at New Orleans in the championship game, they're 2-1. They lost to Alabama. They've got a couple of wins, and then they'll play this in 2020 this year in the championship for college football. But they got a very good Clemson team, who, by the way, is the defending national champs. So I'm going to tell you who wins right now. The Tigers. The Tigers win on January 13th. Big bowl games coming up today. You had First Responder Bowl that took place at Gerald Ford Stadium in Dallas, and Western Kentucky with a 23-20 win over Western Michigan. Going on right now, you got Louisville and Mississippi State playing in the Music City Bowl down in Nashville. The Red Box Bowl is going on as well. That's at Levi's Stadium down in Santa Clara. Cal is taking on Illinois. And then coming up tonight, the Orange Bowl from Hard Rock Stadium at Miami Gardens, Florida. You have 9th-ranked Florida Gators and number 24 Virginia. That should be a very good game tonight. The Orange Bowl starts at 6 o'clock on the ESPN television. Tomorrow, big games. The Belk Bowl, Kentucky, Virginia Tech. The Sun Bowl in El Paso, Arizona State will take on Florida State. Also, the Liberty Bowl is tomorrow with Kansas State taking on Navy. The Arizona Bowl, December 31st, that's tomorrow as well. Wyoming and Georgia State, and then that's in Tucson. And then the Alamo Bowl is tomorrow as well. 11th-ranked Utah will take on Texas at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And then, of course, New Year's Day, lots of bowls with big games tonight, like we mentioned, with Florida taking on Virginia in the Orange Bowl. Remember back in the day when all the big bowls like the Citrus, the Orange, the Fiesta, the Rose, all of those big bowls, Sugar, all were on New Year's Day. Well, TV contracts, money, it's all changed now, but you still get a whole plethora. And I think there's too many bowl games. I really do. There's too many. It's ridiculous. You got like 97 bowl games, and you don't even have enough teams to fill all the bowls because you have to have 6 wins, and then you're taking 6-6 teams. Teams that won 6 out of 12 games are playing in a bowl game. Like, if you're 6-6 and you get it chosen for a bowl, you're sitting there going, man, seriously? That means we got to practice for another month, and it's not even a cool bowl. Like, it's just not a cool bowl. What can we make fun of? All the stupid ones are over. The Lending Tree Bowl, I guess. Hey, woohoo! Oh, Gator Bowl's another one that used to be on the first every year. Outback Bowl. You got all the big ones still to come, but I'm just too many bowl games. So there you go. That's my thoughts. Jason Walker Show continuing here on everything. That's wherever you want to listen to. That's where we're at. We mentioned a couple of big weekends over the weekend. We want your performance of the week. You can tweet us at JWalkerSports or at Jason Walker Show. You can Facebook us as well, and let us know what you thought the performance of the week was. There were some good ones across the state of Montana. Markela Francis down at Rocky. You had Jovan Slavancinen at Carroll. Tech players had a couple of big weekends as well, or big weekend because you had a couple of big wins. That's what I was trying to say. Ty Erickson was honored over the weekend in Helena as winning his first Deer Wrestling World Championship. And, I was going to tell you this. So last week, all right, so I'm not sure if you don't know the story of me and Ryan Leaf in our history, and we don't even have a history, really. It's more of his parents and I. So back in, 2003-ish? 2002. That's when it was, 2002. I was working at a radio station in Great Falls, and I was doing the afternoon show, and I said, hey, it's National Mule Day today, which coincides with Ryan Leaf being back in town. It's hilarious. Anyway, I go to work the next day. I get a call from some people and they're like, hey, you going out this weekend? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, well, Ryan's going to be looking for you. I'm like, whatever, dude. So I didn't go out because I, didn't want to die. But then I go to work the next morning and I'm sitting there and I get called into the general manager's office and there's my program director, there's the GM, and there's Ryan Leaf's parents. And they were mad because of what I said about National Mule Day and comparing him to a mule. And I got in trouble from his parents. They're like, you made his grandmother cry. And I'm like, really? Because none of the stuff that he did his first few years in the pros made her cry? Like, come on. So his brother then played at CMR. I went over to the TV station, got into sports. Then his brother, Brady, wouldn't give me an interview. Whatever. So September, Ryan Leaf comes to town and speaks to the Carroll College student athletes about, his life and his, he's very open about his past drug use, getting caught stealing, spending time at the Montana State Prison, oxycodone or OxyContin, one of the two, Oxy. He's an addict and he's clean and sober now. That's great. And I talked about this in September. We wish him nothing but the best. He's got an awesome little child. He's married. Ryan is all, So last week he tweeted out something about his first year at ESPN was, he's grateful, had a great time. He called the Cheez-It Bowl, but he had a good time his first year as an analyst with ESPN. So I said, well, now maybe you'll have time to do an interview with a home state sports show. Unlike in the fall when you were in Helena. That's what I tweeted out. To which Ryan Leaf responds to me, quote, well, a passive-aggressive tweet there isn't going to help your cause, Jason, but it is probably evidence why we don't do, quote-unquote, home state interviews. Happy holidays, #SoberLife, end quote. And then I said, well, happy holidays to you. If you can put the animosity behind you, I'd still love to have you on my show. So I didn't hear back yet. So hopefully we can get Ryan Leaf on the show because that would be fantastic. But yeah, so and my thing with Ryan Leaf goes back to the late 90s when he was at Washington State. He did the interview over Christmas that said, my hometown is Pullman. It's not Great Falls. People in Montana got pissed at him. And so you can call it a grudge, whatever. I've never been a Ryan Leaf fan. He's the biggest bust in NFL history. So if he wants to come on the show, though, that'd be great. So if you're friends with Ryan and want to reach out, let me know. I'd love to get him on the show, but probably will never happen. So that happened over the weekend. So then we all know about my history with Scott Guernsey and how I've called him out a couple of times on the air because that's who he's Guernsey. So a mutual friend reached out, 2 weeks ago and said, why don't you come on Jason's show? He wants to talk with you. And he got back to our mutual friend and politely, I guess, declined. He didn't want to, stir the pot or get involved in something. I'm like, he's worried about getting called out on his bull, which is exactly what I want to do. But, so there's two guys, Ryan Leaf and Scott Guernsey. If we can get them on the show, that would be great. I might have to have like bodyguards in the studio. I don't know. I'd love to have them sitting right here in the studio, but we'll see if it happens. Guernsey, come on the show. Let's make this happen. And Ryan Leaf, you as well are more than welcome on the Jason Walker Show anytime you want to. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. Sometimes I see things and, everybody gets to have an opinion and everybody gets mad at me for having an opinion, but why can't I have one if you get to have one? And if Guernsey can't handle getting called out for stuff he has said on the air in an unprofessional manner, then that's on you, dude. I want you on the show. Let's talk about it. Anyway, I digress. So that's a couple of things that have happened over the weekend. But anyway, performance of the week as we switch to something positive. What is your performance of the week? You had some great performances in the Frontier. You had some really good performances in the Big Sky Conference for both the Cats, the Grizz, and the Bobcat women and the Lady Grizz. You had those. You had a couple of 1,000 pointers in the Frontier. Not in one game because that would be a record, but you had a lot of great things happen. What was your performance of the week? Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, let us know what you think. All right, we're going to take a very quick break because when we do, we're going to come back and I want to chat with, share one of my favorite interviews of 2019. Brenna Greene grew up and went to Washington State. She worked in Great Falls. She went down to Reno. She's back in Spokane and is she went to Gonzaga rather, but she gets to cover her home area in Spokane area, and we have great friendship, and it goes back a long time. But Brenna was one of my favorite interviews that we got to do, and since we're not going to have a show on Wednesday because it's New Year's Day, this will be That's What She Said for the week, brought to you by Dinner's Done Right. But we want to talk to Brenna and get her thoughts on being the first female sports anchor in Spokane. And it's awesome. It's a great honor for her. But you'll hear from her next when we come back here on The Jason Walker Show. Everyone knows about Dinner's Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinner's Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinner's Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Welcome back, Jason Walker Show, inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Trying out some new music. Like it. Fun stuff. On this day in history, still to come, got some big ones and some birthdays today. You don't realize how many famous people, sports-wise, are born on this date in history. December the 30th, the final day of the decade, final Monday of the decade. Does that make sense? Tomorrow's the final day of the decade. Now, are you one of those that your decade starts on like the 2020, or does your decades end on 2020? So like, is 2019 the end of the decade, or is next year the end of the decade for you? You know what I'm saying? Good, because I don't. So let's see. We got this. Crickets. Nobody knows what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. So much fun. Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. So we will have a show today and Thursday and Friday. So the same schedule as last week. We'll take New Year's Eve, New Year's Day off, and just so that you can hang out with friends and family, and you don't have to be here for the show. You can watch any replays, though, on the YouTube or the Facebook. You can also listen to anything from the past year plus Network One Sports. You can go to the archive there. We have a meeting tomorrow with our web designer, so we'll get our website up very soon, jasonwalkershow.com. That'll be the address, so bookmark it now. But that'll be coming very, very soon. We're meeting tomorrow to go over a final few things. Cannot wait to get that going. So there you go. All right, so back in June, I had a great chance to catch up with a very good friend, Brenna Greene, who worked in Great Falls, worked down in Reno. She is the first sports director, female sports director at KREM 2 News, female sports director, period, in Spokane. She works at KREM 2 News out there in Spokane. Was it the Emerald City? Lilac City, that's what it is. And the Lilac City, and she is fantastic. She gets to go all over the place. But we visit this interview from June because we chatted about her time in Great Falls, some of her favorite moments in Great Falls, and a whole lot more. And Brenna Greene, this is from June previous on the Jason Walker Show. And it's That's What She Said, presented by Dinners Done Right.
We always hear from the guys. What about the ladies? Time for That's What She Said. Brought to you by Dinners Done Right.
Brenna, this is cool to talk to you because I first met you, we were just discussing this, but I first met you at a baseball game in Great Falls. You were a new kind of reporter for Great Falls television. What was your experience like up there?
Oh, my gosh. Well, let's put it this way. Ever since I've left Great Falls in Montana, people think I grew up in Montana. Like, straight up. Like, people will be like, so where did you grow up in Montana? I'll be like, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. Sorry? So I have such an affinity for Montana, and I, in particular, because I lived in Great Falls, have such an affinity for Great Falls and the people and the surrounding communities and all the small towns. I know that area of Montana, north central Montana, better than any other area in the entire country, because of the fact that you are going out to every single small town in that area. I can tell you how to get to every town on the High Line, you know, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved my time in Great Falls, and I mean, I'm planning on coming back to Montana for a little bit this summer. It's great to be in Spokane now, where if I want to get back to Montana, I can. That is something that I definitely considered when I was moving back here. So I went to Gonzaga, so I've, you know, been in I lived in Spokane for 4 years, and then went to Montana, and then went to Reno, and then came back to Spokane. So yeah, I definitely have so many good memories in Montana.
You know what's cool, Brenna, for me is the fact that I worked in television in Great Falls too, but you know, I see like you doing well, and Lindsay Theory, who's doing so well, and you know, Jamie Sire, who's from Great Falls and left and then came back, and then you know, we know how well of a career she had. It's so cool to see such great women that cover sports and do it with passion, and you're one of those.
Well, I mean, it just makes me really proud to, you know, kind of be mentioned in those same names as Lindsay and Jamie. I mean, obviously Jamie was with ESPN for a while, and Lindsay is with ESPN right now. And, you know, just to be in the same sentence as them, I don't really feel like I'm quite worthy of that yet. But, you know, you keep trucking, you keep going, and to, you know, carry on that legacy of female sports reporters in Great Falls. I think that is really cool and really awesome. I mean, when I got to Great Falls, I was the only female sports anchor in the entire state of Montana.
Yep.
And that was it. So to live in a market where, you know, that's normal, I think that is really cool. And like I said, to even be in the same sentence as them, I don't really feel worthy yet of that, but it's still really awesome.
Brenna Greene joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. You did leave Great Falls, you went to Reno, and then not too long after going to Reno, you got a chance to go, quote-unquote, home back to Spokane, and it didn't take long before you became sports director at KREM 2 News, which is the big one out in Spokane. But this is big deal for you because the first female sports director at that station.
Yeah, actually first female sports director in the entire market.
Even better.
There's never been a female sports director in Spokane. So, I mean, it's, I like even just saying that, I get a little, like, emotional. You know, Spokane was a place that I kind of always viewed as home, because I have such an affinity towards my alma mater, Gonzaga, and Spokane feels like the place where I really found who I am as a human being. And so to be able to come back here and to be able to serve this community and be involved in this community in this capacity is such an honor, and something I never take lightly. And I'm so lucky to do this job. And you know, Spokane also has a very long history of excellent female sports anchors and reporters, and so just to continue on that tradition as well is super awesome. I mean, we have a female at every single station in this town right now in the sports department, and that's something that's incredibly rare. That doesn't normally happen. So once again, to be in a market where that is something that is the norm, that is really cool and really awesome.
Brenna, when you look at females in sports, and I'm a big supporter of more females being in sports reporting, whether it's on the radio, on TV. Doris Burke does a great job. I think she should be an analyst, not just a sideline reporter. I mean, there's so much growth still to come. What do you think needs to happen for women in sports?
I think more women in sports need to be in positions of authority. I mean, for example, like, we just went over this. It's crazy to me that it's 2019 and I'm the first female sports director in the town of Spokane. That is insane. I don't feel like I should be the first, So I find that is something that more females need to be tabbed as people who can be leaders, because I think that a lot of times a lot of females are just slid into that weekend anchor role or slid into that sports reporter role, and it's like, okay, that's good. We have them here. We have them here. But more females need to be put into positions of authority to kind of level that playing field.
That's really well said, and I completely agree with you. Brenna Greene joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. So he's a sports director out at KREM 2 News in Spokane, but got her start in the Electric City just up the road. So we've seen you in Helena multiple times. But
oh yeah,
Brenna, what's your favorite sport to still cover? Is it high school? Is it college? I mean, yeah, you get to cover Gonzaga, and you got Washington State, and of course Washington, in the area out there too. But do you still miss the high school coverage, or you still do some of it, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, yeah. I mean, I was out at state track for the, for Washington's equivalent of Class B and Class C this past weekend. So I still get out there, and I love high school. It's kind of my baby. I love getting my hands dirty in it. I've got another story on the way. With a pair of high schoolers up here in Spokane, and I love kind of identifying the stories and finding them in that niche, because they can be some of the most unique and powerful. I mean, I gotta, if I were to choose one team, that's my favorite to cover. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, getting to cover my alma mater at Gonzaga in basketball has been an incredible opportunity. I was able to travel for all of the NCAA games this season and to the WCC tournament in Vegas and cover them down there. That did not end so well, but that's okay. And so that's been really cool for me. I love the stories I've been able to find on that beat that are a little bit different and maybe not the same thing that everybody else is reporting. That's a huge emphasis at our station. Don't just go and do the press conference. Like go and do more than that. And I really enjoy that, because at the end of the day, the reason why I got into this is because of stories and telling stories. And, you can only tell so much of a story through Mark Few sitting up at a podium. So,
exactly.
So I think that's probably my favorite, but I love football and basketball at pretty much any level, to be honest with you.
Brenna, what was your favorite town to go to?
Oh, my favorite. That's like asking me to pick my favorite child. That's not fair.
That's why I do this job. I get to ask the tough questions.
Okay. I think top three. We'll go top three.
Okay, I'll let you do that.
Yeah. Obviously, I have a lot of Chinook, love for Chinook that has been documented. I love Fairfield. I love Fairfield. Yeah, Fairfield was so much fun. I was really close with a lot of kids out there, the Clinkers, which is kind of cool because the Clinkers are at Idaho now, so I can cover them again.
That's awesome.
So that's been really fun. And then their family. I actually was at WSU's spring game a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden I just hear this voice from the stands, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that voice. And I turn around, it's Celeste Myers, excuse me. And I'm like, what up, man? Like, you can hear that voice and you just know it.
Sure.
So I had a lot of connections in that town, since they are, such a powerhouse sports town. And Belt, love Belt. Jeff Graham is somebody who I really enjoy, and I made a lot of relationships with kids down there that were really, really cool too. Honorable mention goes to Box Elder, by the way.
Okay.
Love Box Elder.
I lived in Box Elder for 2 years.
Yeah, I really enjoy just that community, how much they support their kids, how much they love their basketball team.
Well, and you're going to get to cover Joannelle Momberg because she's moving from Box Elder out to Meade. So there you go.
I was literally my boyfriend lives in Pullman, and I was in a movie theater down in Pullman. He's going to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like, Joel Rosette is coming. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, these girls are going to take over the GSL. Just don't worry about it. They're powerhouses. They're going to take over the GSL, the Greater Spokane League.
That's so
I'm
fun.
I'm very excited about that next year.
The high school, obviously, coverage is fantastic in the state of Montana. You've been now to the NCAA tournament. You've got to follow. You've got to go to big time bowl games. You were shooting on the sidelines in December. I mean, super fun. Is there anything though that compares to a state B or a state C tournament in Montana?
I literally tell the story of the Arley versus, I told it last weekend, of Arley versus Box Elder State Boys Basketball Championship in Great Falls a few years back. That was I walked in, and I was anchoring, so I just kind of came for like the first few minutes of the game or whatever to kind of take it in, and then I was like, all right, I got to get back to the station and get my life together. But I walked in as the third place game was still, I think, going on. And Belt was in that third place game, so there was a lot of other people there, but they were not letting people into that gym because it was completely full. And I looked at the cops, and I was like, you got to let me in. Like,
flash the badge.
I have the media badge. Like, please let me in. They're like, fine. And I mean, the same thing happened up in Havre for like the 9C tournament between Hayes Lodgepole and CJI.
Right.
Like, I'm like running, and I'm like, there's a cop at the door at Havre High School, and I'm like, they're like, we're full, we can't let you in. And I'm like, camera, please. And they're like, okay, fine. And I like run in. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You have 30 seconds to get a shot.
Well, yeah. In that situation, I actually did, because there was a Chinook Chinook versus somebody else girls basketball game going on for like third place, which obviously the top three advanced to divisionals, and it was coming down to the wire, and this girl from, I forget her name, but this girl from Chinook hit a free throw, and like I literally walked in as she was like on the free throw line, and I'm like, all right, great, here we go. And that was like the game-winning free throw. So I'm like trying to force myself around. But yeah, I mean, that is something that I'll never forget those moments. And there's something different about it when everybody in the stands is from that town, and they know every kid, and they've known these kids since they were pretty much popped out of the womb. Like, right. There's definitely so many special things about Montana high school sports, and I so grateful I got to experience that, because I mean, being from the Portland metropolitan area, it's just not really like that. So I really enjoyed being able to do that, and I definitely hold those memories in high regards.
Well, we are looking forward to following your career. You can follow Brenna at Brenna Greene with an E and an underscore on the Twitter. But, you get a chance to stay in touch, obviously, with the folks in Montana. But, there's some high school girls playing at Carroll College. You got Jaden Lyman, Christine Denny from the area, Genesis Wilkinson's coming to town. And then, of course, Providence. Bill Himmelberg is notorious for getting Spokane girls, as well as Rochelle Sayer. So you keep that connection. Do you follow along with them?
The person I followed along the most with in this last year was Match Burnham.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's from just outside of Spokane.
Yep, Spangle.
And obviously the men, Spangle. I mean, it's like literally, there was so much snow on the ground for a district tournament that the kids from Spangle got on their ATVs and drove into town.
I know.
So
it was great.
There you go.
It's awesome.
Just, so Spangle's right there. And so... So, yeah, I kind of watched to see what was going to happen with that Carroll men's basketball team because of that. And, yeah, I mean, so many Spokane kids end up going to the Grizz or so many other different schools around there, because it is relatively close to home. And I'm thinking of, there's a guy from Coeur d'Alene who's going to be playing for the Grizz next year as well. So, there's a lot of different there's a lot of different kids around this area that end up going to Montana at some point. And I think that this area really has a strong connection to that area of the country.
Some great basketball players out there. You get Chase Burnham is still going to be playing for Carroll for 2 more years. So you got Chase to follow, the younger brother of Match. Maisie, I think, is going to go to Gonzaga or Eastern Washington, the younger sister, so you get to watch her up close and personal. It's a great family, by the way. I love the Burnhams. You talk about relationships with families, and part of doing Carroll play-by-play is I get to meet the parents, and the Burnhams are some of the best. There's no doubt about it. But I know you're busy,
huge
Brenna.
basketball family.
Oh, huge, and by huge, literally and figuratively, because Blaze is not a small dude.
Nope.
I think,
and I love their names for their children. That is incredible.
I got a favorite story to tell you before I let you go. I was at the national tournament 2 years ago and doing radio for Carroll and getting set up for the Carroll game, which was following the game on the floor. And the internet stream announcer was doing the game, and he mentioned Carroll men. So I was just like, and he goes, they got a kid by the name of Match Burnham. So I wrote down, Dad's name is Blaze. True story. Uncle is Frosty Freeze. And he turns and looks at me like, are you serious? I'm like, dead serious. And so we had to name Chase Burnham because it's like, you can't name your kid Chase. So we nicknamed him Torch. So if you see the Burnhams, say hi to Torch for us.
Will do. I love that.
But it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I've missed chatting with you, and it was always brief. It was always short, but we can stay in touch. I need to get you on the show a lot more often, but it's a great honor to catch up with a celebrity of your stature.
Oh my gosh, please. I'm just a normal person walking around in my apartment in Spokane right now in circles because when I do phone interviews, I have to pace or else I can't sit still. So I am just like everybody else. So
you don't sit still anyway. There's none of that. So Brenna, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It's been so much fun to follow your career, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But don't forget us little guys. Get back to Montana. Stop and say hi here in Helena.
Never will forget Montana. That's for sure.
Brenna Greene, everybody, joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. Again, you can follow her at Brenna Greene with an E and an underscore at the end. Appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Had a lot of fun chatting with Brenna. That's from December. No, it wasn't. This is December. It was from June of this past year, summer, and she is fantastic. And if you're out in Spokane, you get a chance to watch her on the air. She is so smooth and so good, just and a sweetheart. She is super nice. So appreciate Brenna joining us back in June, and we had a lot of fun revisiting some of our favorite interviews from the past year. All right, let's do this. Get some music going. And it's on this day in history. That's what we're doing right now. On this date in 1896, Stanley Cup, Granite Rink, Winnipeg in Manitoba. The Montreal Victorias beat the Winnipeg Victorias 6-5. 1981, Wayne Gretzky scored 5 goals and assist to give him 50 goals in 39 games, the fastest to 50 in NHL history. Let's see. Al Iafrate on this date, 1992, with Washington, was the first player in NHL history to officially break 100 miles per hour on a shot, 101.4. And not a good day for Mike Shanahan. 2008, the NFL head coach was fired by the Broncos. 2013, he was fired by the Washington Redskins. So not a good day for Mike Shanahan. 1935, happy birthday, Sandy Koufax, born on this date in Brooklyn, New York. Born Sanford Brown and went by Sandy Koufax. Tiger Woods is birthday today, 1975. Layla Ali, born on this date, 1977. LeBron James, 1984 on this date. And Carson Wentz, 1992, is his birthday.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right, real quick, don't forget you've got basketball tonight down in Bozeman in Missoula as the Bobcats hosting Northern Arizona. The Grizz taking on Sacramento State. The women on the road at the respective schools. and had a great time talking to Guy Almquist today. The Bruins at home on Saturday. So we're off tomorrow, off Wednesday, back on Thursday and Friday. We'll see you in the new year, and hope you have a great new year. This is the Jason Walker Show. And by the way, the walk-off presented by Cafe Zydeco. We'll see you on 2020.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.